What's good, y'all? This is my second time recording this preseason preview for the Bucks. I recorded this on Tuesday, ready to drop for Wednesday, and guess what? On Wednesday, as you guys know, Damian Lillard gets traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. Needless to say, I had to scrap that video. I rushed home, recorded my reaction to the trade. In case you guys did not see that, I have a full reaction on all perspectives of this trade. It's in the description right now. Click that link and then come back to this video. I didn't let the Dame trade stop me from making a preseason preview as a whole for the Bucks though, so I figured we'll just push it to Saturday, re-record it, get some, tweaks to it, and we'll be here. In case this is you guys' first preseason preview video you're seeing of mine, here is a list of all the teams we have done and are going to be doing. If there's a check mark, we've already done it, and that is in the description and the playlist. If there's no check mark, comment down below. I'll try to get it out faster for you if it's your favorite team, you want to see them. But back to the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, but when I first recorded this preseason preview video, I talked a lot about how they basically were just running it back, getting healthy and just running it back. That completely is out the window. They made the biggest blockbuster move so far, and that's saying something considering Porzingis and Bradley Beal both got traded this offseason already. But without further ado, let's take a look at the guys that they brought in this offseason. Of course, you got the man of the hour, Damian Lillard, fresh off of his trade just a few days ago, and they also picked up Malik Beasley in free agency. Now, we will be talking about Dame a little bit further into the video, so I don't want to go too big into this. But, I mean, when you look at it surface level, two top 10-ish players together with Giannis and Dame. I say ish because Dame is in that bottom half, probably like 7 to 13 range if I wanted to say. So maybe he's top 10, maybe he's not. Regardless, two super talented players coming together, and they just are a perfect fit in my opinion. Giannis has never played with an elite offensive guard in his entire career. He had Eric Bledsoe, he had Malcolm Brogdon, he had Jrue Holiday, of course, who they just shipped out for Damian Lillard, but he's never had a player that can create as much shots and as much offense as Damian Lillard. And not only create offense and shots for just himself, but Dame can set up his teammates. He is one of the most underrated playmakers, in my opinion. A lot of people just take a look at the big shooting numbers, the big scoring numbers, and forget that he averages about 7 assists per game. I think that's the part of his game that's really going to come out in Milwaukee, is that playmaking ability. We know Giannis can score. We know Chris Middleton can score. Obviously, Dame is still going to get his own buckets, but that playmaking right there, I think, is really going to level up this team. And one of the other guys that they brought in was Malik Beasley, who I really like the upside on this signing. They signed him for a super cheap minimum deal. I think he's making $2.7 million. And I know he had a down season with the Lakers shooting the ball at least, or a down half season from getting over to the Lakers. But he, for a career, has been a pretty good volume three-point shooter. He's going to be able to shoot a lot of shots and hopefully get that percentage back up to what it normally is, about that 36, 37% up there. If he can get to 40, oh my God, that's going to be crazy. And then I didn't put him on this because he technically isn't a new addition, but Jay Crowder played just 18 games for the Bucks last season after getting traded at the trade deadline. He sat out because he didn't want to play for Phoenix, so when he came to Milwaukee, he wasn't fully ready. I think that was the story at least. I don't know. I know he didn't play in Milwaukee when he first got there, and then towards the end of the season, he only played a few games, played a little bit in the playoffs. So hopefully now with a full offseason, getting back fully into basketball shape and, being with this team now also, he's going to be able to come in and make more of an impact. Of course, though, you cannot get a player of Dame's caliber without paying a very hefty price. So let's take a look at the guys that they lost this offseason. Of course, the guys that were a part of the Dame trade, Jrue Holiday along with Grayson Allen, their starting backcourt, both got shipped away. And then in free agency, they also did not re-sign Jevon Carter or Joe Ingles. I want to start this off by saying the price of Jrue Holiday, Grayson Allen, and those 3 first-round picks for Dame, in my opinion, definitely worth it. If you want a full breakdown, again, like I said, go check out my video specifically about that Dame trade. But the number one thing that jumps off this screen when I look at the guys that they lost was, Jrue Holiday, Grayson Allen, and Jevon Carter. All very good, obviously to different degrees, but all very good perimeter defenders. Now, they still do have Defensive Player of the Year finalist Brook Lopez down low, anchoring the defense. They still do have Defensive Player of the Year winner in the past, Giannis Antetokounmpo, down there also anchoring the defense. But when it comes to those perimeter, things get pretty shaky on their defense. And then I don't know if you guys realized when I put up those stats for those guys too, but all of those guys, all 4, are damn near 40% three-point shooters. Javon was a 40% shooter. I know Joe Ingles was a 40% shooter. Jrue Holiday was damn close. Grayson Allen, I think, was 0.1% away from being a 40% three-point shooter. They're definitely losing a lot of perimeter play, both offensively and defensively in this. That's why you make the high upside signings of Malik Beasley. Hopefully he can bring some shooting back with that. Obviously, Damian Lillard is going to bring you back some shooting in that. With that being said, though, let's take a look at the potential rotation of this new look Milwaukee Bucks team. The Bucks still have their same starting front court with Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez, but as I mentioned, with them trading away their starting backcourt, they have brand new faces there, including Damian Lillard and Pat Connaughton. And they also are seeing some new faces off their bench too, with Malik Beasley, MarJon Beauchamp getting an increased role this season, Jay Crowder, and Bobby Portis. One guy that I think people are forgetting to talk about in this whole ordeal is Chris Middleton. He was recovering from injury this whole regular season. You know, played a little bit here, played a little bit there, but still looked very off. Then when the playoffs came on, he just turned it right back on. Super efficient with his scoring, was just back to the Chris Middleton pretty much. And I know his role is going to be decreased now with Dame being on this team, but if they can get back the efficiency of, you know, all-star Chris Middleton, oh my lord, this offense is going to be so unstoppable. The big three of Giannis, Dame, and Chris Middleton, that just screams super efficient offense. All three of those guys are incredible at what they do. You know, Chris Middleton can do a little bit for both. He's more of a jump shooter type of guy. Dame, of course, his super deep threes and off the dribble, step back, all these crazy things. Giannis getting to the paint. They all complement each other perfectly. Oh, and I forgot to mention, they're surrounded by a decent amount of shooting. Your starting center, Brook Lopez, spotting up at the three. I already mentioned Malik Beasley. He can come in and be a high-volume three-point shooter. Jay Crowder is notorious for his whole career being a 3-and-D player. MarJon Beauchamp, maybe he can get his efficiency back. You know, he was a little shaky his rookie season, but he was a rookie at the same time. Pat Connaughton, he's known to be able to shoot a decent amount. I didn't put him in the potential rotation, but another guy to look out for is AJ Green. He shot the ball pretty well in his limited minutes and limited opportunity with the Bucks last season. I'm sure the Bucks will give him some spot minutes here and there to see what he can do, and if he's able to keep up that three-point shooting, he might be able to carve his way into an actual rotational role. And I can't believe I went this long without talking about Knicks legend Bobby Portis. Shout out to him. I can't remember if he actually finished top 3 in 6 Man of the Year race, but he was in my top 3 of 6 Man of the Year last season. Incredible scoring off the bench, incredible rebounding off the bench too. I know a lot of the attention is going to go to Dame and Giannis, rightfully so, but I do think they have a pretty good roster surrounding them. With that being said, though, let's take a look at the Bucks' strength, and that's going to be the ability to play through their stars of Giannis and Dame. Here you can see some stats about how Dame and Giannis play in the pick and roll. Dame as the ball handler, Giannis as the roll man. Dame is one of the elite ball handlers in the pick and roll, putting up 1.13 points per possession, which is 3rd in the NBA. And he does this on a super high volume, 11.1 pick and roll possessions per game. And when you look at Giannis, he is also super effective with a 1.09 points per possession as the roll man. But pretty surprisingly, he only had 1.8 possessions per game. When I was researching to put this video together, I was a little surprised that Giannis wasn't even higher in the points per possession as the roll man. When you look at him, he's pretty much the prototype roll man that you want. Super athletic, super strong, tall, big body, not afraid of contact, can finish over you, get to the free throw line. He does it all. But one thing that I am definitely sure of, once he runs that pick and roll with Dame, those numbers are going to go up. No disrespect, but Dame was running the pick and roll with Yusuf Nurkic, with Drew Eubanks. Again, no disrespect, great NBA player, good NBA players. But now you're going to do it with Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's more than just the pick and roll, though, because obviously they're not going to just bring the ball up with Dame. Hey, Giannis, come set the screen real quick. Every single possession. That's just not realistic. But I mentioned this a little bit with my first reaction video of the trade. Their gravities are such in polar opposites that I think it's going to work perfectly to just stretch the defense. Dame is known for those long logo shots. You know, Logo Lillard is his nickname for a reason. As soon as he walks past half court, you have to pick him up. He's a threat as soon as he crosses that half court line. Or if he's in the All-Star game, even behind that half court line. When you're talking about Giannis, though, and stopping Giannis, you have to build that wall at the rim. So you're building the wall at the rim while picking up Dame at half court. That leaves a lot of stress on your defense. I just think their skill sets just literally just fit so perfectly together. Both of them are amazing playmakers for their position as well, so it's not going to be like an only star thing. They are definitely willing to kick it out to the open man. And then as the cherry on top, I already mentioned it before, Chris Middleton as your third option with those elite efficiencies. Man, this going to be very scary to stop this Bucks team. Obviously, no team is perfect, though. Every team does have its flaws. Some are big, some are small. This Bucks team, their flaw is their point guard depth. Here's a list of every point guard that is currently on the Milwaukee Bucks roster. You have Damian Lillard, who they just traded for, Ty Washington, who's on a 2-way contract, and Jason Gortman, a rookie who's on a 10-day contract. If you want to look at this on the bright side, before the Bucks traded for Dame, I had this same weakness for them, is that they just have Drew Holiday basically, and then, you know, those other guys are not going to get playing time. And I don't know about you guys, but I am definitely way more confident in Damian Lillard being the only point guard I have on my roster than Drew Holiday. Again, no disrespect to Drew Holiday, great player and everything. But when Damian Lillard can produce for you at the point guard position is very different from what Drew Holiday can produce for you at the point guard position. Also, losing Javon, like, kind of double hurts now because, one, you don't have that depth at the point guard position, but also he is such a great perimeter defender. You know, now that you don't have Drew, you'd be able to put, you know, Javon on those tough matchups and everything. But now you don't have him either, so it definitely does suck. When you look at it from a playmaking standpoint, though, obviously when Dame's out there, we already talked about he's a great playmaker. Chris Middleton, incredible playmaker. I could see them definitely running him as a point forward in some lineups because they don't have this great point guard depth. Giannis, we already mentioned also that he is a pretty good playmaker for his position as well. So I don't think it's going to be the end of the world, but it is still a weakness that this team has. And now that you guys got the full preview of this Milwaukee Bucks team, it's time to do the ceiling and the floor. And for the ceiling of this team, I have them as the #1 seed winning the NBA championship. I don't think this is a hot take whatsoever. They are my favorite right now to win the NBA championship. But in this situation where they reach their ceiling, both Giannis and Dame average, 27 plus points. They both are flourishing playing together in this offense. Then you got Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis rounding out the bulk of the scoring. You got Brook Lopez down low anchoring the defense. Their role players are able to step up and shoot efficiently, defend well, do all that. And they win the NBA championship. And then for the floor, they still have a pretty high floor. I have them as the 2 seed out east, and then making the Eastern Conference Finals, but losing. I'm gonna be honest, if this team stays healthy, I don't see them being anywhere lower than the Eastern Conference Finals. The only team that I think can even have a chance at standing in their way is the Boston Celtics. I think that they match up really, really well with just their size to match up, their star power, their offense, their defense. They both just match up really, really well. And in this case, in their floor, the Boston Celtics end up beating them. Let me know where you guys think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to land in this year's standings, though. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Like I mentioned before, if you want to see my full breakdown on specifically the Damian Lillard trade, I talk about the Bucks perspective, the Trailblazers perspective, the Suns perspective. That's in the description right now. Click that link. Also, if you want to see any of the other preseason preview videos that I did, that's in the link as well. Also in the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.